the Boats of Silence. They said the punishment was older than kingship itself, older even than the sun cults and the First Empire. But under Artaxerxes, king of kings, lord of the four quarters of the earth, it was used only once. I was there, commanded to record every word, every breath, so that the story would serve as a lesson for all who might forget that Persia's throne was made not only of gold, but of fear. His name was Mithridates, a soldier of renown, bold and foolish in equal measure. At Cunaxa, when the king's brother Cyrus the younger rose in rebellion, it was Mithridates who struck down Cyrus's chariot guard. In the drunken haze of victory, he boasted in camp that it was his spear that had found the prince's heart, not realizing that Artaxerxes himself had claimed that honor. It was a careless word, one that should have earned nothing worse than exile. But to contradict the glory of a god-king was treason. And treason, in Persia, was answered by ceremony. I remember the morning when the command was given. The sky over Susa was white with heat, the air thick with the hum of flies. Artaxerxes sat beneath a silk canopy, his face calm, his voice soft. "Let him live," he said, "and let him learn the price of life without honor." That was when I first heard the word scaphas. The boats. 2 shallow hulls of cedar were prepared in the gardens beyond the palace walls, beside a stagnant pond lined with reeds. The workmen built in silence, avoiding one another's eyes. No soldier spoke of what was to come. It was said the design came from the old kings of Media, a punishment reserved for liars, betrayers, and oath-breakers. When the day came, I was summoned to bear witness. The air smelled of damp wood and river mud. A priest of Ahura Mazda recited purification hymns while scribes arranged their tablets. The King of Kings did not attend. His absence made the ritual heavier, as if the unseen presence of his authority pressed down upon the earth. Mithridates was brought forth by the immortals, bound at wrist and ankle, his face still proud. He believed it a common execution. When the sentence was spoken, I saw the first tremor of disbelief in his eyes. For falsehood against the Lord of Light, the Magus intoned, "You shall be bound between the vessels and carried to the still waters. You shall drink the sweetness of the earth until the earth itself claims you." It was, as all Persian punishments were, framed as purification. In the eyes of the court, this was not cruelty, but the perfection of justice, a way to separate the soul from its corruption, to let it face judgment cleansed of deceit. But to those who watched, there was something terrible in the stillness that followed. The guards carried out the king's command with ceremony and care, as if performing a sacrifice. I set down every detail as I was ordered, though my hands trembled. When it was done, the priests declared the rite complete. The sentence, they said, would last until Asha, the truth, prevails. The next day the garden was sealed. No one was permitted to approach, save for guards who changed watch at dawn and dusk. Yet the legend grew, whispers passing through the city like wind through reeds. Some said Mithridates still lived, tended by the keepers of punishment so that he could not die swiftly. Others swore that his spirit had fled long before, leaving only a shell that muttered curses to the river. Children were warned that if they lied before the gods, the boats would come for them. Weeks passed. The King of Kings ordered no mention of the matter at court. The feast of Mitra came and went. Incense rose over the fire altars. But each night, in the hush after sunset, I dreamed of the garden, of reeds moving though no wind stirred them, of water rippling though no fish swam beneath. At last, when the order came to close the record, I returned there one final time with the Magi and the guard captain. The pond was silent, choked with green growth. Whatever had been left there had vanished into the earth. The priest whispered a verse of cleansing, and we turned away. I wrote the conclusion in the royal chronicle. Thus did the great king punish the tongue of deceit, and truth was made whole in the eyes of the empire. The tablet was sealed and placed among the archives of Persepolis, to be read only by future kings. But history is never truly sealed. Years later, when the Greeks came and the empire fell to Alexander, I heard one of their philosophers speak of it, how the Persians, in their cruelty, devised a punishment upon the water. They spoke it as barbarity, not knowing that in our tongue it was meant as cleansing. Yet even now, in memory, I see that garden under its white sky. I smell the sweetness of rot and the stillness of the pond. Justice, I have learned, is a word with two faces. One turned to heaven, one to the earth, and between them lies silence,